This week in VR, we are joined by Andy from Obscure Nerd YouTube channel. Andy talks about all of his AI girlfriends that he's been dating in VR. I can't even say that with a straight face. But he also talks about his love of Asgard's Wrath, and especially the excitement for Asgard's Wrath 2. There's been a lot of details of this game that's come out over the last couple of weeks, and we discussed that as well as our past memories from the old game. Elsewhere, the Quest Lite is heavily rumored to come out in 2024, and many have been approved to sell in China for the first time ever. So we discuss our thoughts on that and more. So let's talk Oculus. Let's Talk Oculus, a VR podcast, is proudly sponsored by the good folks at Patreon. If you want to support the show, join us on patreon.com/Let's Talk Oculus. What's up, Oculus nerds? Welcome back to Let's Talk Oculus episode 111. I'm your host, as always, Dan from Playtest VR, and I'm joined by my co-host, as always, Samson. How are things in your dark room?
Oh, things are going well. I have a light here. Yeah, I can turn up the brightness if you'd like me to get a little hotter. Burning.
Spooky season's over, Samson. Spooky season.
Yeah. I'm doing well, and I'm doing particularly well because of we have a guest on our show today, and that is exciting.
Yeah, our guest. We have a special guest joining us for his second time on the Let's Talk Oculus podcast. It's fellow YouTuber, comedian, and the channel's like probably the funniest YouTuber I've seen, to be honest. And he has multiple AI girlfriends and such that we'll get into. But it's Obscure Nerd, or AKA Andy. How are you doing? Welcome back to the show.
What's going on? I'm doing fantastic. My AI girlfriends are doing great. They're having wine night.
You're basically the AI Mormon.
A little bit. That's my brand.
Yeah.
That's quite funny, actually. Andy, it's been a long time since we had you on the show. For everyone who doesn't know, Andy goes by Obscure Nerd on YouTube. Links will be in the show notes, like they always are. Andy, first of all, congratulations! You just hit 10,000 subscribers. So
thank you.
Big up, congrats to you, because I can see that you've been pushing the YouTube a bit more than at least when we saw you last time. You've been really going for it.
Yeah, I feel like I've switched up like the style of editing a couple times, and I'm really like I feel like I'm starting to really nail down like what I'm trying to do with these. So like I'm just having more and more fun with it. So now I'm like, why not go all in, and push it.
I've been enjoying your raps over there.
Thanks. Yeah. I've started doing this live stream show, and it's funny. Half the people watching are like, "Please don't rap," and then the other half are like, "We'll pay you money if you rap." It's divisive talent.
Oh man, I feel like I've missed out. I need to go check out your live stream after this for sure.
Friday nights.
Friday nights.
Friday nights. I always want to start off, Andy. Let's talk about these AR girlfriends, because a lot of people are like, what the hell are you talking about? It started off with Replica. Replica is an app that you can do in VR. I've actually tried it out myself, and you can have your own basically girlfriend, and then you've kind of branched it off to more AI, non-VR kind of girlfriends and such. Yeah. Tell me, like, how did this even begin?
And where has it gone? And where will it go?
That's the real. Where will it go is the big question. It began. It's the will of the people. Because I had done the Replica VR videos. Just for fun. I was like, I'm going to treat it like a fun improv game where my scene partner has no idea that we're doing a comedy scene. They're just an AI. So I'm like trying to yes and off what she says, the AI, and that video got like 90,000 views, which at the time was my most viewed video. So I was like, all right, I'll keep doing this. Why not? And so I did a whole series on the Replica VR for like months, where I would do like one a week, adding to it. And then eventually I was like, I feel like I can take this format to like other places. So it just turned into like, I'm trying to review every single AI girlfriend chatbot in existence. And that's quite a lot.
There's got to be a lot, yeah.
There's new ones every day too.
Yeah. So what is your favorite one here, like that you've been interacting with? Obviously, Replica, you get to interact with them, I guess more in the physical sense.
Yeah, it's a lot more physical. That and the waifu VR app.
Let's get physical.
I thought that the waifu one is kind of interesting. This is the saddest sentence I've ever said. I was intrigued by the features of the waifu. But that one's fun because it's also in VR and it like responds to you. So you can be like, hey, I'm over in the kitchen. It'll like turn around and walk over to you and then stare you with a dead expression. And that's fun to me.
In the kitchen.
Yeah, in the kitchen, where all the fun happens. And then some of these, some of these AI apps are getting taken down because they're not regulated enough. So like there's one I did, got like pretty good views, and it was one of the more interesting ones where you can create your own AI with it. Naturally, if you give people the ability to make their own AIs, they made some of the worst, deplorable things. I made a Papa Smurf dating bot for it.
Oh, okay. Did you say it got taken down?
Yeah. So all of a sudden, a couple weeks ago, someone messages me and they're like, "Did you know that you were quoted in the Daily Mail?" I was like, "No, they didn't reach out to me." Yeah. And there's an article about it. It's called Try AI, which, trigger warning if you see the article, it's like basically just reporting on all the horrible things that happen on this app.
Damn.
And they took one of my quotes and it was like, YouTuber Obscure Nerd VR said, quote, "This is pretty concerning stuff." So like, at least I'm on the right side of history.
Yeah. At least it wasn't the opposite. Then that's the end of your YouTube channel. Is the end.
Listen, you don't want to get a text that says, "Hey, I saw you in the Daily Mail."
Have you seen? Yeah. Have you seen a spike in views since that article?
I did get on that video. It did get a spike.
Okay.
And a couple people who were like, "Daily Mail brought me here."
I feel like with the AI girlfriend, the only way to kind of keep your sanity whilst trying out all of these is to record it or is to live stream it online.
Yeah.
Because if you're doing this on your own, going through every single one and not really sharing it, then you might have to question your own life
I've got a whole separate series of videos just for me.
Yes,
I just sit and watch them.
The private stash.
If you could go on a vacation with any of your AI girlfriends, where would you go?
Bora Bora.
All right.
I just want to say this is not how the podcast normally is for any new listeners. We just have Andy on the show.
I bring a unique energy.
Yeah. I'd almost call it an obscure energy.
Hey.
Yes, that's about right.
There we go. So you've obviously had the AI girlfriends and such, but have you also been branching off into like maybe gameplay videos and such? Like what is kind of your style of YouTube? Like what do you like to record or make on there?
Yeah, so like when I started my channel, it was strictly VR, like just comedy gameplay videos of VR. But I think now what I'm really enjoying and what's really like reinvigorated it is I'm making it just basically whatever I'm interested in if it's in the tech space. So like I have a whole series I do on Second Life that's brought in a whole new wave of people who are watching who are like Second Life people who are now getting cross-exposed to VR and they're getting headsets. And then you get Second Life people exposing the VR people to Second Life, which is more concerning.
They found a third life.
Yeah. But then I'm also doing like more flat screen gaming stuff, more geared towards like social platforms. Like I did, what's the name of that game? Maple Story. I did a video on Maple Story, like an old MMO.
Okay.
So I'm having more fun of making the channel more about the personality and pacing of the videos and less about like, we only do X, Y, or Z here.
Yeah,
you're a side quest friend person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The sidekick.
Okay.
There you go.
Side quest sidekick. Yeah. I've been doing that for years. The side quest people are amazing. And, at least for me, like my approach with the VR gameplay is, you see a lot of the YouTubers like the day something drops or right when the embargo comes out, like there's like 50 videos on the same game, which makes sense. Like that's fine, but
they need to exist out there.
Yeah, like that needs to happen. But I kind of like covering the more obscure, weird, funky games whenever I find them. And so SideQuest has been amazing for that, where like everyone can drop their Asgard's Wrath 2 video, and then I'll do something on some weird clunky physics game that came out.
It's also like much more funny and entertaining. I feel like when you've got the big titles, all the big like content creators are going to put out, like when Assassin's Creed comes out, you're probably sure on the day the embargo releases, whenever it is, there's going to be like 30 videos on Assassin's Creed, which is great. But it's like, how do you stand out from that, right? And I think, especially for your channel, you also want it in comedic. Like if someone's going to give you a game, they don't want you to rip on it and just laugh at all the different things, right?
So some of them do, but most of them don't.
Yeah. A week or two after Assassin's Creed comes out, Andy will have a video where he's just interacting with the NPCs.
Yeah, it's good. That's literally what it's going to be. Yeah, it's just going to be me
trying to find a girlfriend in the Middle Ages and such.
Will you be my AI girlfriend? Yeah.
Finding a girlfriend in Assassin's Creed VR.
By the way, for everyone listening and watching, Maple Story is not about a Canadian making his way through life in Canada. I just googled it just to make sure, and it's nothing to do with that. It's nothing to do with that. But yeah, and then also, Andy, I saw that you went to Snapchat Lens Fest the other day as well. How was that? Yeah,
it was cool. Yeah, they do this, like a lot of my friends in the real world, which is surprising. I have them. Most of my friends, like in LA where I live, I met a lot of them through a program called the AR House, which is not around anymore. But it was basically like a cohort, like, collective type of thing where you could go to the house anytime you want. It was this beautiful big house, and it was just a community of people like developing. And most of the people there are developers.
By Lucas, right?
Yeah, Lucas and Aiden Wolf, who's a really amazing AR developer. And so I started going there, and then I did motion capture and voiceover for one of the Snapchat apps that a good friend of mine developed while he was there. And so then, since then, anytime there's like one of these AR conferences, they'll hit me up, and I'm like, open bar at Snapchat, I'll be there.
I'll be there in a snap.
Yeah. And they gave us this fun Lego, custom Snapchat Lego set.
That's cool. For those of you audio listeners, it's basically a Lego version of the Snapchat Ghost.
Which took me an embarrassing amount of time to make.
I mean, they're all white. It's hard.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they're all just one single color, so that is very difficult. Are they all the same bricks as well, by the way? Are they just like...
No, they got all... It's like tiled in there.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, you got the 3s, the 4s, you got it all.
Oh, nice.
But the event was cool. It was basically just like a summit where they had the Snapchat, like the owners of Snapchat came out, and they presented the new platform they're putting out for developers to develop lenses and things for AR glasses too. So a lot of what they were showcasing was mixed reality experiences.
Oh, very cool. Interesting.
Any breaking news you have for us and our listeners?
I'm trying to think of what the most exciting. Honestly, the talks were like interesting. There was one company that presented there as part of their program that's doing like a text to texture program. So you can like give it a text prompt, and it gives you a texture file you can use for like your 3D models and things. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Oh, cool.
Interesting.
And then of course Snapchat, like Google, they're trying to map the whole world with like the volumetric capture. So your data's not safe.
I'm wondering how, like, when does the lens become more of a mainstream thing, or are they just waiting for it to just click, where they have all of these apps that really take advantage of it, and then they could probably ship it off to more mainline consumers? Because right now, I think that you can only buy it if you're a developer, unless that's changed.
Correct. Yeah. And I've tried it, and the Snapchat glasses, they're pretty good. The quality, the coolest thing about it is like spatial experiences. So you can build an experience and anchor it in a specific physical space where you sort of do like a volumetric capture of the space. Yeah. And then the experiences exist within there. So if you're wearing the glasses, like you'll see like just whatever over here, the normal world, and then you turn and you'll gradually see like these specifically placed virtual objects enter and live within the space that you're moving in.
That's cool. Like the Quest 3, like at first encounters, all of a sudden one room in your house is just like designated to doing first encounters.
Also, like the augments, the augments, what they're trying to push out next year, right? I guess that's what it means, like those anchor points and such.
Yeah, because it's I know their master plan, I think, is like, in Pokemon Go, for example, anytime you take your phone out and you aim it at something, it's connecting that GPS coordinate to whatever direction you're facing and where you are on the planet, and feeding the images of the buildings and the objects all around you into this like ever-changing volumetric 3D model of the world.
I see.
Yeah.
So eventually they want to have that be the base platform where if you're a developer, you can just attach it to that, and no matter where they are in the whole world, it'll know, oh, that's a building, that's a chair, this is a door, and it'll just overlay whatever they built on.
That will be, especially if they can get something like Pokemon Go in that glasses, that will instantly sell. Like no problem.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I guess they have to get it to that part that, like, if they release this too early when all these systems aren't developed properly yet, then it's just going to be dead on arrival. It'll be like the Google Glass kind of thing. It's all about timing.
Yeah, you want to make sure that when people get introduced to a new experience, the first experience like really hooks them and sells them. Yeah. And I think the AR glasses are maybe like one iteration off from being able to do that. It's a little clunky, the experience.
Yeah, it's not there yet, but my gosh, it's going to come here quick. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it's going to be exciting.
Dumping a lot of money into it. That's for sure.
That's it. All the big companies are, right. They're just throwing money at AR and mixed reality and such. Like, it's bound to happen sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
Hey, Dan, do you mind if I pivot us to what we've been playing? Because I'm kind of curious what Andy's been playing lately.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's do it.
All right. So what you been playing, Andy?
Nothing. No.
Great pivot.
Yeah. Let's see. I just today got Power Wash Simulator. I have not tried it yet, but I'm doing that tomorrow.
Nice.
I did Stride Fates today. Have you guys played Stride Fates?
I have played a bit of it.
I have not, but Dan has.
I played a bit of it, and I think I mentioned it last week on the podcast that you're going to suck for a long time, but once you nail that parkour, it's going to be really good, and fast and speedy and such. But how did you like it?
I think the parkour mechanics are really, really solid. The fist-to-fist stuff is a little clunky, but I was having fun with it too. Because like halfway through my playthrough, I kept running out of ammo, and like I was just like would empty a gun, drop it, and then grab a gun off the floor from an enemy. So I was just like running, and then eventually, it felt kind of like it. Yeah, and so eventually I was like, this is too much. So I just grabbed a guy's body and just ran up to people and just started throwing his body at them. And it worked. Absurd.
It does work, yeah. Like I remember killing someone and then grabbing their body and holding it as like a human shield, and I don't even know like it's meant to do that, but it just, hey, I'm not a monster. I'm clever. I'm, have you not seen the movies? Take hostages.
He's well trained. Yeah, I've seen John Wick.
Exactly. It's good, but you're right. I think the combat is quite a clunky, but that parkour is very satisfying.
The parkour is it's the best. Like I hope Assassin's Creed Nexus parkour is just that basically, and I think it probably will be somewhat close.
Yeah, I think they actually will simplify it further. I think with the Assassin's Creed stuff that's come out, and obviously by people watching this right now, Assassin's Creed's out today, which is crazy. So you'll know this for sure. You'll know this for sure. But from what we're speculating, because obviously we're recording it a few days earlier, I think what I read and saw into the gameplay is that the parkour in Assassin's Creed feels a lot like what the parkour is in the actual mainline games, where you're pretty much holding a trigger button and pushing forward, and you're jumping and such. There's no,
and you can sort of automate as long as you're lined up.
Yeah, so it's more, it's just less to think about. Where I saw with Stride, there's a lot to think about, at least at the start, and that's why you're going to suck. Yeah. I don't see the amount of times I fell to my death. It was just, just Richie's Plank experience all over again.
You give me war flashbacks.
Exactly.
Oh, just looping back to Power Wash. When you play it, I have heard Gamertag made a video, I think, where he used the Quest 3 optimizer to bump up resolution and a few other things. that made
That's a
that
good
game
pro tip.
a lot more enjoyable. Yeah, it will eat the battery though.
That's
there's always
okay.
trade-offs.
I got one
but
of those
yeah.
over the neck battery packs now.
Oh, nice. Right,
Yeah.
Zyber.
Actually, yeah. Shout out. They sent
Yeah.
it to me, and I'm doing a video about it this week. This thing.
There we go.
Actually, very
Shout out
cool. Yeah,
Zyber.
Zyber. Yeah.
Yeah, the neck battery.
I wore it outside once, and I was like, I feel like a Silicon Valley like d-bag, like headphones and that.
It does seem ideal for like a plane, but
it would be perfect for, especially if you're going on like a long flight. You could probably get like, I haven't tested it fully yet, but you could probably get like 5 or 6 hours.
Yeah, and you can you hot swap that battery that's in there as well, or did I just read that wrong?
I think you can.
Yeah,
I just ran it dead for the first time, so I'm gonna have to check that out.
fair enough. I mean, check out the YouTube channel, obviously, because eventually it will come out. Have you tried their head strap? Did they send you the head strap too?
Yeah, it's actually, that's what I use exclusively now. I'm glad I waited to use this, because this thing is actually it's one of my favorite straps I've used actually.
Yeah, I just got mine as well actually, and yeah, the thickness of the top part of the strap, I feel like it's unnecessarily thick, but then
it is kind of thick.
But Live Over Mike mentioned it so good. He said he found it really comfortable, and I was like, oh, okay, maybe for bold people, it actually is perfect. It actually is. Like, I'm not even joking.
Too much cushion already.
I'm not even joking. Like, it does make a difference. I'm like, okay, I have the hair there, so it's fine for now. But one day when this hair disappears, a thick strap like that, I'm going to be very grateful for. So I understand.
They're getting the bald market.
Yeah, that's the market you need in VR. I think that's got to be at least 50%.
Definitely, that's the bald market. Speaking on straps, and we'll get back to the games in a second. Just because we're on the strap, I just want to quickly mention the Bobo VR M3. I gave thoughts on it on the podcast last week, and this week I've been using it exclusively without the facial cover. So I've just taken it off. And I've just been Quest Proing this machine. Now, last week I said it's probably not going to work because you're too far away, and then I realized now there is the problem with the Bobo is that it is finicky to use, but once you get it right and know what the right position is, you'll always understand that next time, so you know exactly where to put it, and it's fine. It's just when you initially get it, it's you try and put it on like a normal face strap, and it's not going to work well at all. But having it, apart from it being bulky, it actually works really well if you're looking for a Quest Pro style. And plus you can flip it up and flip it down.
How far away is it?
You can actually get it really close. In fact, I can get it like where my eyes are almost at the actual lenses, and it's totally fine. Now, if you were to do anything more physical, i.e. like a rhythm game, or you're in stride parkour and you're like really getting into it and such, don't, because it does wobble and go all over the place. But if you're just like sat down at a desk and you're using Immersed, or I was playing chess VR and I was playing the Seventh Guest earlier as well, and it was totally fine, because any like relaxed stationary kind of games, you're totally fine. I just wanted to mention that, because last week I was saying it's no chance you're going to use it without the facial strap, but yeah, you can.
How times have
changed. You're saying there's a chance.
Anyway, Samson, and what have you been playing?
Dan, I'm going to start with the new thing I've been playing, which is Demeo Battles. I've sunk in a solid almost 10 hours since Thursday, and it's Sunday.
I love that. All as well. You're doing it for the pod. Once again, you're not doing this 10 hours on your own. You're doing it for the pod. That's fine.
Yeah, exactly. This is business.
Studying.
These are billable hours.
Exactly.
Yeah, I've gotten a chance to play the Rough Talk guys a couple times, and yeah, I'm just really enjoying it. I'm loving. I go in each time with a strategy, and I'm just trying new strategies. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna buy this type of creature. I'm gonna try and hide and see what this creature does this time, or that's mostly the strategy I've done so far.
that's as far as we've gotten.
That's fair.
I need to check that one out. I've only played Demeo once, which is criminal, because I really liked it too.
It was too long.
That's what it was. My headset died in the middle of the game, and I was like,
Yeah.
I invested too much.
The irony is that I'm like, oh yeah, I'll go play Demeo Battles. It's just 20 minutes. And then 3 hours have gone by of me playing. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah, you're hitting the
Oh,
same. They're hitting the same
see.
time. I'm the same as you.
But I didn't commit to it.
It's
to
a commitment
it,
of 3 hours. Is a lot of
Yeah.
time, and obviously you need to play it with someone, so the other person needs to commit to that long time as well. And
You got to be
getting
locked
people
in,
to commit to anything, like going to see it. We wanted to go see Killers of the Flower Moon in the cinema the other day, and it's 3.5 hours. And I couldn't get anybody to be like, I was like, anybody. So it's hard to commit. But I was
That's
like you,
long,
Andy.
yeah.
I've not played much Demeo. I do like it every time I play it. In mixed reality, it's fantastic because you can walk around the board and search like
I love
yeah,
that
you can walk
idea.
around the board, you can zoom in, zoom out, but you can do that in VR, but it's more incentive to do it when you're in mixed reality, and it's really good. And they have co-location multiplayer too, so if you ever have someone come around with a Quest 3, they can play on the same board.
I want to try that. That sounds like the way to play.
Oh, for sure.
That's a great way to sell people on VR too. Just be like, come on, pop it on. We're getting the D&D group over. I got headsets for everyone. We're going to check this out.
That's an expensive night for the host, but
Yeah. Someone's going to have to deal with the Quest too. But
You know, I have thought about the idea of buying 4 headsets and getting the Demeo type games, games that you could play like a game night, and then offering to go to people's homes to help them host a game night for 1 to 2 hours.
oh, like
That would be
in
sick.
a VR arcade
Yeah,
at your home
yeah.
kind of thing. That's it.
Exactly. You charge like
Yeah.
$150 for 2 hours. They split it between at least 4 people. It's
Yeah, that's
not
easy.
too expensive of a night.
And you also bring chips and
yeah,
salsa
I
as well.
thought-
You got it covered.
They're all included.
I've been trying to punch numbers on this. I don't think it's going to make millions, but it could be a decent way to make some side.
It's a niche, but people are interested.
Yeah, I mean-
people will be interested.
You just got to push it on the gram. People see that on the Instagram. You record like a video of your friends doing it one night, like having a great time, and like, hey, they're like, whoa, look, those people are smiling.
Look, I remember
Do the
How
classic
do I do
meta
that?
branding.
back in
Yeah.
the day, you could like rent consoles out and such, but they don't really do that stuff anymore.
At
So
Blockbuster, yeah.
maybe that's the way. I don't know. You'll have to think about that one, but.
Um,
I just want to mention the game I've been playing more is Seventh Guest, and I've been talking about this in the pod for a lot, so I won't talk too much about it, but
you must be
I
stuck
know a
on
few
it.
people in our Discord now has finished. Kimberly, who's Patreon of our show, big fan of the show, she gave me a heads up. Andy, I'm not sure if you know, but I hate spiders. I can't deal with them. In VR, forget about it. I have
I
not
get it.
touched Dungeons of Eternity for that whole reason. And
You can skip.
you
them,
can
though,
now,
to
yes,
the
you
dungeons.
can now. But she gave me a heads up that there was a bathroom room coming up that there's going to be spiders, and then she DM'd me like full details, which I won't obviously spoil for anyone in here. But I'm
gotta prepare
right at
yourself.
that room now. I jumped into it earlier today. I'm very close.
Give it to the
Very
girlfriend.
close to the end. I'm like maybe 20% left or so, and I've heard that the last 20% is really close, but I'm right at that spider/cockroach room. It sounds intense,
Yeah.
but that's why I'm playing it in the Bobo without the facial interface, so I can see the room around me to have protection.
Grounded.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there you
in
go.
reality.
You got a little bit of a way to
Exactly.
escape.
There's a reason. But yeah, still loving it, and I'm hopefully trying to finish that before Assassin's Creed comes out, because let's be honest, I'm not touching it once Assassin's Creed comes out.
Yeah, then it's all over.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah,
hubris.
exactly.
That sounds like I just tried the Amnesia VR mod that just came out too.
How scary
That's-
was that?
Horrifying. They do this so in Amnesia, it's like if you're in the dark for too long, right? Your character's sanity starts to go away, and then you start to like see bugs on the ground and like hear noises.
Lovecraftian.
Yeah, and they do this effect in the VR version that's crazy, where like your vision starts to like warp, and like sometimes like your arms will like move really far away from you, and it's like tunnel vision. It's nuts.
That's so weird. Did it induce any nausea?
No, but I could see it having that effect on someone who doesn't have their VR
I
legs.
find some of the ports, like the Dr. Beef ports and such, like if you don't have your VR legs, you could get it just because it's obviously not made for
could be a little
VR,
tough.
but it is what it is.
I still can't play Quake. I try every once in a while. I go and try, and I'm just like, no. There's probably settings I can mess with, but it's just so fast.
Fair enough.
I actually just did Quake. I really liked that one, but yeah, I could. It's super fast paced.
So fast.
I played Quake in there too, and I actually didn't mind it as much. I think it was Doom that really got me, but it just depends, right? Everyone's got their own weird VR legs. Obviously, Andy, you're talking about the Quest 3. You have the Quest 3. How are you liking it so far? After I bet it's been about a month now, right?
Yeah, I love it. I mean, I've only used a couple of headsets. Like I started with the launch model HTC Vive, which is like 2016. Can't even use that anymore because the resolution on it, you can like see the individual dots. It's like insane.
It's like 2 screen doors.
Yeah, it's I went and used it the other day just to like see what it's like. I was like, this feels like I'm using ancient technology already. Yeah. And then I went to the Quest 2 and I was using that for PC and for Quest 2 stuff for years. So jumping from the Quest 2 to the Quest 3, it's like
those lenses.
I don't think I'll ever put this on again.
That lasted you a good amount of time though.
Oh yeah. I mean, I got the Quest 2 at launch and it basically stopped functioning completely the week the Quest 3 came out.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
Oh, Dan, I've been playing a couple other games.
Go for it.
Mention.
Oh, let's hear it.
Yeah. So I have Disc Golf Heiser Flip. They had an update to their game where they created a new course. It's not one of the procedural generated courses, but this course has mandos, which are basically mandatory things you have to do on that hole. So to the right of a tree, or there's a triple mando that is like a doorway, if you will, and you got to throw you just through the doorway.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I'm not good. I tried to record some content, and you know how it like when you get the disc in the hole in the basket, above it pops up birdie, whatever. I haven't seen birdie yet, Dan. I haven't seen
Working our way up to birdie.
The best I've done is since trying this new course was triple bogey. And I was like, all right, do I just like make a video and I just show triple bogeys like just constantly being like, I think others exist. I couldn't tell you though. I couldn't.
Fair enough.
But yeah, I've been enjoying that one. So pretty solid update.
Mandos.
And yeah, outside that, a few other games normal, like I know, since Riders Breachers, but 11 table tennis has become a staple of my weekly activities.
And you only play in mixed reality, right? I think that's what you said before. Or
yeah, actually, over the weekend, I had a friend come over who doesn't really play VR. I gave him my 3. I played in my brother's 2, and we played outside, and we set up. And his avatar was basically 1-to-1 with him.
That's cool.
So it felt like the next day. He texted me and he was like, dude, that's weird. It felt like we were playing table tennis, but we were just standing outside flicking our wrists.
And we don't need to elaborate on what that was forward. Just standing outside.
Just a couple guys flicking our wrists outside.
Yeah.
6 feet.
He said
Say
wrists.
wrists. Yeah, he did say wrists.
Yeah. I enunciated.
Andy, is there anything else that you were playing that you want to shout home about? Or
let's see. What else have I been?
We're thinking about playing.
Well, I'm about to get back into Pavlov's Shack because I love Pavlov's Shack.
This week, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm definitely about to get back into that. I just hopped back into Battle Glide as well.
No, I
have you guys played that? It's like an indie developer making this superhero game. And it's kind of one of the best superhero games in terms of mechanics that I've tried. It's basically like a web slinging type of thing. It doesn't have a whole lot of direction right now. They're still updating it a lot.
Sandbox?
Yeah, it's just like a city, and you just go around, and then there's enemies on rooftops, and you can interact with all the NPCs, and You get like super strength and super jumps, and it's very disorienting though. They just added an update where you can flip in. So like if you're like web slinging through, you just hit a button and then you can control the direction you flip. It's crazy.
So it's just all balls to the wall, like all out movement.
Yeah, exactly. But the gun mechanics in it are also really
it looks
good.
like Spider-Man John
like,
Wick. You know, like if Spider-Man had a gun and did not care about saving people, he just wanted to just obliterate everybody.
That's the best way to put it.
Seems like
Spider-Man John Wick.
Wick. Yeah, I can see that. It's on App Lab. It is $20 at least. I think that's $20 Canadian. No, it's $20 US.
It's 20. It's 20,
that is on
yeah.
Battleglide, yeah. So that's interesting. Yeah, I've not heard of that one. But yeah, I see the reviews and people saying the best Spider-Man game out there. So there we go.
Yeah, I mean, out of all the ones that have come out, I think they put the most time into making it like
Fair
make
enough.
sense.
Did you ever?
This game just looks fun.
It is. I mess around in it for like an hour the other day, just like going around throwing things at NPCs.
Did you ever play Iron Man? Did you ever get into that when it came out?
I actually never played it.
Iron Man's solid.
Yeah,
it is solid. It's really fun. I'm not sure of how it works on the Quest 3 controllers because you do put your hands behind you almost when you're flying, like Iron Man. And it on the Quest Pro controllers with the cameras, obviously flawless. I've actually not tried it in the Quest 3. I should do. That was a fun game. That was a really fun game. It was very like it does get repetitive, but it is definitely the most fun superhero game that I've played. But obviously, I've not played Battleglide yet, so and it's really polished too.
Yeah, I need to go back and
it was really polished. And I think it got a permanent price cut to $30 now, I think, or less. Maybe less.
I love permanent price cuts.
Yeah. The first level's worth the sale price, I'd say. I haven't played through it, the whole game, that is. I played through the first level.
It's pretty much the same, just with different maps and such, pretty much. It's just more Iron Man. To be honest. I think for me, I don't think I've been playing anything else. I did play chess, obviously, VR, and got destroyed. I thought I finally got into master mode, and obviously not.
Do you play randos?
I just play the AI.
Out there,
I don't like to talk to people. Yeah.
You play AI?
Yeah, I've gone.
Wow.
I seem to. I think intermediate's my. Not master, sorry. Advanced is what I tried. Intermediate seems to be my jam, where I do have a good chance at them. But no, forget like master. I mean,
AI is just so good at
but
chess.
I love that game so much because the environments are so nice, and there's the one Stonehenge one where they have the like real kind of characters, kind of like more like Harry Potter style, where when your queen's going up against a pawn, the queen has this like magical diamond in her hand, and she uses it to blast the pawn away and such. And the pawns are all like dwarfs. So when the dwarfs are like attacking someone, they bring out their axe and then they smack them. And it's like you have all these animations. I think I mentioned this like way back when I first reviewed it. But the only problem with that is just that it's a little slow, but it is chess in the end of the day. But it's a little bit.
It needs a mixed reality. It needs mixed reality.
I thought it did have it, but I couldn't find the setting in there when I wanted to try it. So yeah, I couldn't see it. But it looks real sharp on that Quest 3. So if you've got Chess Club or fancy some chess, I'd highly recommend it. It's a great chess game.
Do you play chess, Andy?
I don't. I'm horrific at it. So maybe this
the
is
hand
the time
tracking
I
solid too, because all you're doing is picking up and letting go, and that's all it is.
Let me tell you,
there's perfect for hand tracking.
There's like 20 or 25 levels in this, and I can barely beat level 5. So
that's good. I'm not going to get through level 1.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
You might.
It sounds
you
fun.
Can't make any wrong moves. It's a VR game. It won't let you move the pieces.
That might help me learn better.
Yeah,
put it on a rail.
Yeah, for sure. Exactly. I think the games that I'm looking forward to, obviously, we've got Assassin's Creed coming out. As you're listening to this, Assassin's Creed's come out. It's $40, I believe. Pavlov has come out too as well. Pavlov comes out on the Tuesday, actually, the 14th. So Pavlov's already out quicker. Yeah, for some reason. Yeah. I don't know why, but
it's obviously because they have a quick shot.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, thanks.
There we go. But yeah, Assassin's Creed, I am really looking forward to this game. I can't wait to spend the weekend in it. Andy, have you been following Assassin's Creed's coverage or anything? Is this something that's on your radar?
I am so like, listen, I was very when Meta announced Splinter Cell and Assassin's Creed, like Splinter Cell is one of my favorite games of all time. So I was so excited, and also I still think Splinter Cell would be
I agree,
perfect for VR, like just the sneaking around. So when they announced that they canceled that, I was like, "There's no way Assassin's Creed's happening now." I was convinced. I was like, "It's never coming." It's like GTA, which went away like a fart in the wind.
It's funny though, because I would have thought, obviously I'm not a developer, but I would have thought Assassin's Creed would be harder to bring to VR than a Splinter Cell game would be, but. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they just had more faith in it.
My theory, my conspiracy theory on Grand Theft Auto is that Rockstar like pulled out, and they were like, "Well, we already announced this," and Rockstar was probably like, "Hey, we're just gonna do Grand Theft Auto."
No one's gonna think about it.
And so then they're like, "Let's just not talk about this again because we don't want to say that we announced it without it actually happening."
After Grand Theft Auto 6 is Grand Theft Auto VR. So we got, a couple years more.
That would be pretty
hype. But yeah, so Assassin's Creed.
But
you're getting that instead.
Creed, I'm pumped for it. Yeah. And I was like,
did you play any of the like standard Assassin's Creeds? Have you ever been a fan of the mainline series?
Yeah, I actually I was one of those, I was in high school or middle school when E3 was like a big thing. And I remember watching, I must have been 8th grade when they announced the first Assassin's Creed at E3. And I got that like the day it came out because I was like, this is sick. And the first one is it's so amazing. The first one is still the first and the second.
Me too. I was in the same boat as you. I got the first one when it came out because it was so new and so different and such, and it was great. But then the second one just took it next level of what they did with it, and obviously the spin-offs. And then I think once they became like a full RPG. I mean, I think Black Flag might be my last one, and then they did Syndicate, and then.
Same.
All the other RPG versions came out, and then I was like, okay, these are 100-hour games now, and I think
the new
there
one
is Mirage. Mirage is only 16 hours. It's more like a nod to the older ones, but yeah, I haven't been in it ever since, so I'm excited that it's more to do with. I mean, it's never going to be a 100-hour game. Obviously, I think that's what Asgard's Wrath is going to be like, and we'll talk about that a bit later. But I'm so excited just to have like a little bit of a snippet of it and hopefully it does really well and then maybe able to push on and do a sequel in the future, but I guess we'll see. We'll see by the next podcast comes out. You will know if this has been a hit or not.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
we will know. I look forward to offering my other perspective, having never played a flat Assassin's
that's
Creed
going to be interesting. I'm interested in. Of course
I own them though.
You know,
they're good.
I'd be interested, Samson, in what you think about the parkour, especially because it's meant to be so seamless to like the flat screen ones, to see how that feels.
Yeah. I know the idea of them, and I feel like now games have taken things that Assassin's Creed did, and originally were unique, but now they're not so unique as far as gameplay mechanics.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, that will do for part 1 of this podcast. In part 2, we will come back with the VR news because we have a lot of Asgard's Wrath to talk about, and apparently there might be a Quest Lite coming up very, very soon. So we will see you in part 2.
Hey, we know public lobbies in VR games can be a bit toxic, feel a bit empty at times. That's why we created the Let's Talk Oculus Discord. A friendly community that you can join for multiplayer meetups, general VR chat, the game, and chat about VR, fitness motivation, and there's even a very impressive 3D printing channel. Join over 100 of our community members in the Let's Talk Oculus Discord for free. The link is right in the description.
All right, welcome back to part 2. This time we're talking about the VR news. And let's start with Asgard's Wrath 2. And I kind of wanted to bring this up because they just announced a few more details. It seems like the team at Asgard's Wrath are like every week or every couple of weeks bringing out more and more content, and I've never seen so much press or media hype around this title. Their marketing budget, I mean, Meta is obviously pushing this forward, but it must be so high, because you see nothing but Asgard's Wrath, more than Assassin's Creed, more than any other game really that I've seen. But they've come out with a few more details, but we've never really addressed them onto the podcast, so I added in a couple of the other ones that have come out over the last month, and we can talk about them. But before we get into that, Andy, have you played Asgard's Wrath 1? As you done PC VR, right?
Yeah. It was actually one of the first videos I did when I got my Quest to test with the link cable back then. It was pre-Airlink days.
Wow.
But the first one I really, really loved. Like the whole bar sequence that they have in that is just amazing. It was the first VR game where I was like, this is what VR is supposed to feel like a vibrant environment. There's characters everywhere where you can sort of move around and live within the scene, and it all just feels really well thought out.
Are you worried at all with Asgard's Wrath 2 being only on the Quest 3, and therefore probably has less elements to make it feel as alive as at least one would think?
Yeah. The graphics I'm not as picky about. The combat in Asgard's Wrath 2 is where I'm questioning. Some of the videos I've seen, it seems like a little bit more like canned animation type of stuff, like sort of like a swing here type of thing, which I'm not super into, but I get, and I think it makes for like a more
the
clean
first
experience.
one had a lot of parlaying, if I remember correctly, right?
Yeah. I mean, the combat really wasn't ever the draw to it anyway, but. I just hope that it's got a good story. That's really what I hope they can pull off, is keeping the story interesting and vibrant.
Yeah,
I gotta tell you. Oh, go ahead, Dan.
I was about to say, as someone who's not played Asgard's Wrath, because I've not had the PC set up for a long time, was it kind of similar of what they're touting for with the second one, though? It is like a full-blown RPG. You can spend 60 plus hours in it kind of thing, or a long time at least in it. Everything like that is still intact moving into the second game.
Yeah, it felt like I don't remember, I never even finished it actually, but it was a pretty long and pretty in-depth sort of like fantasy game. And I really just hope they don't have to like pull back on any of the mechanic and storytelling stuff.
Yeah, that's fair.
If it's just graphical, then I'm cool.
I know a lot of people who have this as their favorite game. It's either this or Half-Life Alyx, to be honest, as their like favorite VR game. And the game
Half-Life Alyx, that's me.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, people want to showcase a game. It's still probably Half-Life Alyx, and to a lot of people, it is Asgard's Wrath, the first one. But and Samson, you've not played too much of the first one, I remember. Or?
Yeah, definitely not a lot of it. Few hours. I just googled it. How long to beat? It is 60.
60.
But
yeah.
I am most looking forward to these Uncharted rifts in the second one.
Yeah, let's talk about the new updates here, okay? So let's start with the first one, and it's like you said, Uncharted rifts. So what these Uncharted rifts are, they are procedurally generated dungeons. So Samson, kind of like Dungeons of Eternity.
Uncharted rifts is a nickname for my farts.
That's actually really funny.
I'll remember that.
Yeah. You'll see that on the next video from Andy there.
Yeah.
So essentially, procedure generated. Each trip has new layouts based on your hero and loadout, which is the interesting one. So I guess it depends on your loadout and such of how they will tailor this dungeon. Every rift will finish with a defined trial, which is a boss fight at the end. There's a bunch of challenges in there, like killing a set amount of enemies and such that you could do to give yourself rewards. They're like more optional, and it also has like exclusive loot that once you do a rift, you can then get this stuff that you can carry into the actual main game, which is a rift. I guess will be the Uncharted Rift is probably like a raid, right? If you're thinking of something like Destiny 2 or if people played games like that, it's like going to do a raid mode and you're getting lots of loot and such, and you're bringing that into your actual main game. What's really interesting though is the asynchronous multiplayer. So essentially what happens is when you finish a run, you leave behind a quote unquote divine soul of yourself, And essentially the soul of yourself can do one or two things. So if you leave a divine soul, then it will help players during a run and fight alongside you. But you can also leave a dread soul. So I think you can probably choose one or the other. But the dread soul acts like a mini boss. So essentially the player has to defeat you. And then when they defeat you, you will also get notified that they have killed your soul and your soul no longer exists. That seems really cool.
That's a great text to get in the morning.
Yeah.
Your soul has been killed.
Your soul is no longer with you.
Yeah, so sorry.
This sounds cool, right? Like, Andy, what do you think of this like dungeon mode that they're throwing in?
I love that. Anytime someone tries to get like creative and interesting with like replayability and variability in the gameplay, I'm all in.
Yeah.
And procedural stuff for dungeons especially, it's like perfect. It's like
This sounds.
I don't want all my dungeons to look the same.
Just like Dungeons of Eternity, and I'm all for it. Outside of they nailed synchronous multiplayer, so. But
Dungeons,
anyway, just going through a procedural like procedural dungeon looting things, coming out on top, coming out with my loot. This might be where I'd sink my time in this game.
Yeah, it sounds like they've picked up Dungeons of Eternity and kind of put it into this game. They're like, yeah, that's something that we can do in the side. You don't need any other game. Just buy Asgard's Wrath and you'll be fine. You do everything you want. You can even fish in there. So you've got, put real VR fishing to the side. But exactly. This game just continues to build and build, which is the interesting part. The asynchronous multiplayer is a cool idea. However, I'm also assuming, I don't know if it has been confirmed, that there's no co-op or any multiplayer in this. I'm not too sure.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think so.
And I'm assuming
unless they're going to try to jump with it at the end and be like, also we have multiplayer.
That would be massive, like if you could do a co-op, but I feel like that might be pushing it it seems like they're pushing it a lot already. To have, because that might just be the one that's missing, right? If you want to do these dungeons, then obviously you have a game called Dungeons of Eternity, which is made for that, and the co-op is fantastic, right? Or so I've heard from Samson and everyone else. But then obviously if you like those kind of things, you're going to be able to experience something similar, albeit your own or with a friend. If he leaves you his divine soul for you to fight with, but if he's a bastard, then he leaves you his dread soul.
Whoa.
That would be me.
Yeah, don't call them all bastards. We're not that bad.
That's funny. And then also the other thing that they announced, and this was more recent, i.e. over the last week, is the hideout. So the hideout feels like it's going to be your game hub, at least. I'm not sure if it is actually going to be your hub, but it's going to be this area which you will go to frequently, which essentially has these like god NPCs scattered around, and you essentially collect these gods in a way. So as you progress in the game, they become,
oh my god,
these gods become your like friends.
These are my gods.
These are, I don't know how you collect the gods. Do you have to kill the gods and then they become your slaves? Is it that deep? Is it that dark?
We're still trying to figure out how to do that in real life.
Exactly.
Actually, it would be cool if they were each boss fights, right? Like you encounter one like powerful god at a time, and if you beat him, they're like, you didn't really kill me because I'm a god, so like I'll just come help you out.
But now I'll help you out. So these gods essentially in the hideout, you'll have someone that would be a craftsman, so that's where you'll get armor and weapons. You'll have a merchant god who will then create potions with you. And there's a few other different options and the stuff that they haven't obviously announced as well. So yeah, it could be one of those. It could be like you have to defeat the god, and then now you have that aspect of having.
I hope that's how they do it, because that would be a cool addition.
Yeah, rather than, I mean, the other way they could do it, I guess, is if the god has like a side quest, and it's like, okay, do the side quest for me, and then I could help you out, or.
Yeah, do me a favor.
Yeah, do me a favor, and I will be your internal slave in the game. Craft you potions.
It's a good trade-off. Like, oh, you want me to go get some milk at the store?
Yeah.
And then I get a god on my team.
And then they also mentioned that hunting is a very important aspect of the game. You can hunt wildlife. You can craft different bait, and use it for apex predators, which are like mini bosses. And you'll have like these massive dragons, for example, would be like a apex predator. etc. There'll also be tough ritual combat challenges that you can go in. You complete that and you can unlock like an endless mode and additional perks. Not sure what much of that means, but it's just more content and more content and more content, and it just keeps
endless
adding on.
mode. It's endless content.
I'm okay with that. Yeah, it never stops.
Yeah. I mean, Andy, was hunting a big thing in Asgard's Wrath 1? Can you remember that? Or
It's been a while. I don't recall that being a part of it though. But again, I didn't finish it. I do like this hub because it reminds me of the part that I really loved in the first one, where it was like this bar where it was all the gods hanging out at the bar, and you could go around and like this guy would sell you stuff and things like that. So I'm glad that there's sort of building that aspect of it out, it seems.
Yeah, it looks like to that. And plus, if you watch the video that Meta have put out for all of these updates, the game looks beautiful. And you got to remember, this is not PC VR. There's no PC VR version to this, and there probably won't be. This is probably running on Quest 3, obviously. They're showing the best graphics for it, and graphically it looks fantastic. I have seen especially in the last one, which they talk about the hideout, is when someone grabs an item, you can see a bit of stuttering in at least the video clip. Obviously, we're just gonna have to try this out in a month's time. Yeah, when they're grabbing something like a piece of food or something, you can see the food like stuttering a little bit on the frames. But apart from that, it looks beautiful. But like you said, Andy, like I feel like the combat looks very, at least what Assassin's Creed combat looks like as well, where it is very, I guess, rhythm based in a way, where you're just like waiting and you're like, you're picking the right moves and such. But yeah, we're going to spend a lot of time in this game. I mean, everyone's going to have it who has a Quest 3 anyway, so.
This will be... Oh, no. You know what? This game comes out early, because in my head, I still think it's coming out in January, so...
Oh, yeah. So it's a good surprise.
Yeah, this is going to be a great December surprise. No, I was going to say I'm going to play all Thanksgiving break, but that'll be Assassin's Creed. So
yeah, that'll be Assassin's Creed. Andy, you want to, on YouTube, maybe doing not just a gameplay video, but are you want to do like a whole hour or something going through the game? Or is that something that you don't tend to like to do?
I've been thinking about doing that now, especially with these live stream shows where like I sort of structure it where it's like the first half is more like a radio show, but I'm thinking about having like the second half of each of those be like, hey, let's try out a game for an hour and live stream some stuff.
Yeah.
That's what Live Open Mic does for at least one of his days, usually on Twitch. He'll start off with 20 to 30 minutes of a video, him talking, and then I'll pivot to gameplay. And a lot of times he'll use that content in a YouTube video. So
yeah, that's probably what I would end up doing too. Which I think could actually be a lot of fun, especially with a game like this where it's a longer game that you can sort of do section it
That's
out.
what I was thinking. Okay, today we're gonna just jump into this quest or something like that. The quest to find the middle. I don't know where this is located. What kind of like era in?
I think it's like Nordic.
A Nordic NPC girlfriend, a god girlfriend that Andy could do. I'm just assuming all your videos
that would be great.
The search for the.
It is the main through line.
Exactly, but yeah, I think this game will be perfect for that. I think a lot of people will like watching because I think this game is so big that obviously you'll get people doing a review.
How big is it?
It's big. It's big. I obviously there's going to be a lot of people just doing reviews on it, but I think there's so much that not everyone can cover anything. Like there's so much that you could do in there. You could probably do a video just on the fishing alone, and people have a good time on it.
Yeah, honestly,
yeah, absolutely. All right, let's move on to our second and the last news story, I guess.
Wait, before we move on, Dan, I just want to say I'm sick of talking about Asgard's Wrath 2, and I just wanted to play it, and I want to learn anything more about it.
Yeah, it's hard. They're putting out a ton of content. I'm actually kind of worried, not kind of worried, but like interested to see that this month we've got Assassin's Creed. We've had a massive month, right? Last month we have a bunch of games. Next month in December we've got this. We've got Arizona Sunshine. We've got Bulletstorm and probably
Bulletstorm's getting
Wallace and Gromit and such. We haven't heard of nothing about. Something must be right, but it's just interesting that everything is now. And I understand with the Quest 3 hype, people are trying to like jump on that. But I would have thought Meta especially would probably try and spread out their releases.
No, holiday, dude. Holiday push.
Holiday push, yeah.
Jam it in there.
You gotta push it.
I'm just worried about like the January, February, March kind of thing. Like it shouldn't really be a worry because obviously the games are out there. Like whenever it comes to February and you want to play a new game, you've got the games already out. But it's that hype and such and that building. And I think Nintendo did a really good job with the Switch of like trying to put out 1 or 2 big games or decently big games a month or so. And they did that at the start of the Switch life.
Yeah.
I think they've kind of got out of hand a bit now and such, but they've been doing a good job.
8 years in.
They've been doing a good job of spreading that out. So it's such an interesting one. I guess only time will tell. We'll see between January to the next gaming showcase of how many like newer titles we'll have. But there's just a lot coming out.
I do want to say, I believe there was a price drop on the Quest 2 to $250 now.
Temporarily.
I still don't think
it's
I recommend
temporary.
it, but
Yeah.
it is pretty cheap. And do you think there'll be any Black Friday or any really good deals?
I think that's what it is. The $50 off for Black Friday. For the Quest 2. For the Quest 3, obviously nothing because it just came out.
There'll be good game deals though that weekend.
There'd always be, yeah. The Quest 2 will be small.
I hope I get them because I still never got that Halloween sale for some reason. I don't know what happened. I don't know what is in. Oh man.
Yeah, it is what it is. But all right, speaking of buying a Quest 2 and such, let's move on to the next story. Meta will reportedly be bringing the Quest 3 Lite to China now. So obviously they've not had the Quest 3 or any of their hardware sell in China. That's obviously been dominated by the Pico market and any other VR headset in that realm. But kind of a two-part story here. We've got the Quest 3 Lite and we've also coming to China. So start off with the Quest 3 Lite rumors. We had rumors of this because a leaked roadmap to The Verge happened earlier this year. We covered it on the show that there might be a smaller, lighter version.
The Diet Coke of Quest.
But when we say light, I don't mean like light in terms of weight. Like it might be lighter, but it's more to do with like the scaled back versions. So what we're seeing from the rumors is that it will replace the Quest 2. You'll be using the old, I put Fennel lenses in, but I'm pretty sure it's Frenzel lenses. Yeah, I put fennel seeds, but anyway.
It'd be a fun lens.
We'll use the old lens.
They
will just use the Quest 2 lenses, let's just say that. And but we'll rock the Snapdragon XR2, which is the chipset in the Quest 3. So a better GPU, but just with the older lenses. So it'll probably be thicker, of course, as well. Obviously, this will replace the Quest 3. It makes a lot of sense. I'm assuming it'll be at a similar price point. Andy, you said you probably can't go back to that Quest 2 once you've tried those pancake lenses, right? I guess this will be good for budget option, but it's a tough sell when those pancake lenses are so nice.
That's the thing. Like, it better be a lot cheaper than the Quest 3. Like, because for me, and if it's over $200, I would be like, just go and save the money and buy yourself a Quest 3 because it's the lenses are just so much better. And like once you try them, the Fresnel lenses doesn't make sense to me.
Unless you're just a Gorilla Tag person or you're buying this for someone who just plays Gorilla Tag, then sure.
Yeah, I mean, if you're pretty casual and you just want to like try a VR and have a headset, then as long as it's a good price point, I think it makes sense.
Yeah, if you like fitness, for example, right? Your Beat Saber machine, your fitness machine,
fitness what?
something like that, right? Then it makes sense. But if you're playing any games and you can probably save up to get the Quest 3, it's probably worth it. Like it makes sense with the lenses going older. Obviously, though, apparently there's no mixed reality on this headset as well, which I think is a big missed opportunity because I think it's a big problem because if mixed reality is locked to your more expensive headset, how are you really going to get developers to kind of push that when the lower cost version of this headset doesn't have it at all, or will have a black and white? Like it's an interesting one. Obviously this is not confirmed, so we don't know.
Yeah, and they seem to really be pushing the mixed reality titles and use cases for Quest right now, like all over. So to not have access to like a quarter of their library, however many titles the mixed reality is going to end up building for their library would be kind of crazy.
It won't make sense.
Because, you know, you're basically just blocking yourself out from more business because you're like, hey, this is connected to our store, but you can't play like
suckers
X amount of games on the store at all. It doesn't work on this.
Yeah, I feel like they need to have it where the ecosystem for Quest 3 Lite and Quest 3 is exactly the same. It's just that you're on older lenses to new lenses. Maybe that would be the only trade-off. You know, but it'd be interesting. Like, would it be that cheaper for just changing the lenses? Or is there more to do with that, right?
I don't know.
I mean, yeah, cameras probably, something like that.
I mean, the controllers...
Yeah, because especially
the
if
controllers could be ringed, right? They could be like the old Quest 2 controllers. That could be another way to save. But
do you think that costs money to put the IR into the thing?
you know what? That's the thing. I don't think so. I think it's just the reason why they switched to that is because the hand tracking is good enough to just track. And I don't know if that's like, obviously the Quest Pro controllers, that makes sense because they have like a full on chipset inside. They're in their own computers, but just adding the ring back in, would that be, I mean, that's more plastic. That might cost money, but like something like that, right? Yeah. Like, I don't know if the controller is going to be the biggest deal. And I don't know if just changing the lenses from the Pancake to the older ones are going to justify a $250 price difference, you know, or such.
Yeah.
I feel like this begs the question of, will Pico enter the American market now?
Well,
to counter.
Well, they have. So, speaking of entering markets, speaking of entering China,
nice.
Facebook, Meta, are now going to be selling the Quest in China from 2024 onwards. They've teamed up with a company called Tencent. And for those who don't know, I didn't know this until I saw the Upload VR article, but to sell like different kinds of products in China, foreign companies have to partner with a Chinese company or set up a local subsidiary. And there looks like they're partnering with Tencent, which will sell and support the Quest headset in China. Now, Meta will still get more of the profits, but obviously it'll be shared a little bit with Tencent. And Tencent they've done this with a lot of companies. Nintendo is the most common one, and they sell the Switch. Obviously, Nintendo's Japanese, so they have to sell the Switch through a different company as well, and they do it through Tencent.
You need like an ambassador.
Yeah, in a way to get you in the door with China. But it looks like they're finally going to hit that market in 2024, which is going to be interesting to see of what happens to Pico. There's been a lot of Pico rumors where, they're folding or anything like that. And those rumors have been denied, but maybe there is some smoke to that fire, like potentially. So, yeah, we'll see how it does well.
Yeah, the Pico stuff is interesting. I'm interested to see how that all pans out because they also do some layoffs recently.
They did a bunch of layoffs, but then they also announced they're going to be like pretty much double down on Pico, which is interesting. So I don't know what's happening
by laying everyone off.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening in the background. Yeah, that helps. But it's going to be interesting to see how well it does in China. Notoriously, I'm talking about like PlayStation and Xbox and such and other manufacturers. They don't tend to do well in China. They normally stick to their own kind of hardware and such. So it'll be interesting to see how much of a dent it can make. And obviously it'll be pretty problematic for Pico potentially,
Oh, yeah.
But
unless they can come to America.
It's interesting too. I'm going to have to research this more because I know that ByteDance, which is the company that owns Pico, I know that Tencent has a stake in them. I don't think it's a majority stake, but I know that ByteDance is connected to Tencent in some way. I think they hold like some stock in there. So I'm curious if there's anything there that's why they're pivoting.
Yeah, there might be something into that. It might just be common practice for Tencent to have, and they just have a stake. But
Tencent does have a stake in like almost everything that's tech. They have a stake in Riot Games and all sorts of things.
Yeah. So it might just be a coincidence, but Samson, in terms of what you said with the layoffs, so basically Pico was developing a Beat Saber style competitor, which looked a little bit familiar, but they added different things to.
It had like feet tracking.
Yeah,
right?
it had feet tracking. That obviously they try to change up the mechanics a little bit. It's pretty much the same, but it's like making a synth riders or an audio trip or something like that. Like they're similar, but they're not similar kind of thing. But they canned it and they laid off all the developers who are working on that. So it definitely adds further doubt to what's going to happen to Pico. There's a lot of uncertainty, so we'll see what happens. But I think they need to get into the US market, and I don't know how they are. I think the problem is they were meant to, right? I think they announced they were going to, but then I'm reading here from Upload VR that it was to do with TikTok, obviously unrelated, but still part of the company. So due to that hearing that's happening in regards to TikTok within the States, it's causing a delay on Pico as well.
That makes sense.
So. Yeah, that's it. Like when I did the Squid Games VR experience, which is like a full locomotion experience that you could do in a whole.
He brags about it every week.
It was wicked. It was so much fun. But they were using the Pico 3 in there, so obviously not selling it, but they were sponsored by Pico, so the Picos are in North America. They're just not sold. They're just not sold. But all right, that will do for part 2 of the news. And part 3, we'll obviously talk about the 2 big games that are out this week. So we will see you then. Let's Talk Oculus is available on all good podcast platforms and some rubbish ones as well. If you want to see the video version, it's available on YouTube and Spotify. And also, if you love us so much, then consider throwing us $1 at patreon.com/Let's Talk Oculus. Back to the show. All right, welcome back to part 3, the games out this week and anything else. We have 2 colossal games coming out this week, which are already out as you're listening to this. Samson, start us off with the first.
Colossal. This is like a YouTuber title, Colossal game, Pavlov Shack, coming out November 14th for $19.99 USD. Pavlov is a team-based multiplayer VR shooter with realistic weapon handling. Play a variety of game modes with over 65 interactable weapons and attachments in various environments. Team up in a match of 5 versus 5 and search and destroy a classic, uncompromising competitive game mode where you must attack or defend against a bomb objective. Use your detective skills to uncover the traitors in a casual murder mystery gameplay with various players' roles in TTT. Neutralize a monster that escaped captivity in an asymmetrical 1 versus 9 game. Operate vehicles such as 4x4s or tanks with intuitive driving controls in a World War II match to defend your homeland in Stalingrad. Play hundreds of community-made mods. Bite the bullet, grit your teeth, and queue up.
First of all, I apologize I put such a long description in there. I didn't realize how long it was.
It hit all the points.
It hit all the points. You know what Pavlov Shack is. Obviously a game that a lot of people have been playing through side quest and such for a long time. It's finally at the store. It's quite mad how it's only $19.99. I feel like they could easily sold it for at least $5 or $10 more of how big this game and how big like all the mods and everything already in there. It's already ready to go. Like it's not a game that in a few more weeks we'll have more content and more content. Like it already has a lot of content in here. So for $19.99, if you're into any multiplayer shooters, if you like stuff like Onward, Contractors and such, you are gonna love this. And obviously, Andy, you're a big fan of Pavlov Shack, right?
I love Pavlov Shack. It's still my favorite shooter to go back to on native Quest. It's just so easy to like hop in, get a couple rounds in. I love doing the gun games in it. They better still have gun games because that is like my favorite.
You know all the guns? You can reload them all?
I'm working on it. I've never won a gun game, so I don't know what guns they have at the end, but I've gotten through the roster somewhat.
That's fair. Samson, you gonna pick this one up? Or you played me? You love me some Pavlov?
Yeah, I pre-ordered it because there was a nice pre-order bonus of, I think, just like a founder's bonus type of deal, and it was 25% off. So it's as good as you're gonna get off of any meta referral.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. So even cheaper.
I hope that this helps goose up the servers, because the last time I went on, the servers, there's still full games, but it was not nearly as active as it was when I was into it like 6 months ago, a year ago. So I'm hoping this sort of re-energizes the community.
I think it will. I think definitely for this Christmas, you're going to have a big boost of servers and you're going to have a great time, to be honest. I think you'll be fine. But there is another big title coming up, which people might be on instead. Andy, would you mind reading the second title for us?
Yeah, this is a description of it just off the top of my head. Assassin's Creed Nexus VR, November 16th, $39.99. That's the price, US, not Canadian. Embody 3 legendary assassins in this all-new full-length Assassin's Creed action-adventure game. Experience firsthand the thrill of parkour, the rush of combat, and the tension of stealth as you become the assassins like never before. Uncover new memories from Ezio Auditore, Cassandra, and Connor as you work. I don't remember Connor.
No one remembers Connor.
I don't recall Connor. Sorry, Connor. I'm sure you're great. As you work to stop Abstergo from gaining the power to manipulate people's beliefs. Assassin's Creed Nexus VR features all of the iconic gameplay, all of it, from the series, including the dazzling leap of faith. You'll become the assassin, choosing how to achieve your missions as you sneak, traverse, and fight your way through open maps in an unforgettable campaign.
Connor is from Assassin's Creed 3. I think Assassin's...
Oh, I remember Connor.
A lot of people skipped Assassin's Creed 3, and also a lot of people just didn't remember it because it didn't really do too well. Obviously, Ezio, everyone knows.
Yeah.
It was forgettable, unlike this campaign.
They're trying to bring him back. That's why they're like, okay, we're going to give you a second shot. And then I think Cassandra's actually in Odyssey or something. I don't know, but I think she's in there. And obviously, you're going to have 3 completely different eras and worlds to kind of jump in. But I mean, we spoke about this earlier already. I am absolutely pumped for this game. I'm pumped just to walk around like Venice or probably Venice. It'd be just Rome potentially. It could be Venice because Ezio goes to Venice as well and goes to Florence as well. But obviously, just walking around the streets of Florence and Rome and Venice in that era. I hope there's a lot of NPCs in there just to make it feel alive. And yeah, I can't wait to try this. I can't believe that, like we said, when you're in 8th grade watching the trailer of the first Assassin's Creed and there's going to be one time where you're going to actually be in the world is pretty incredible as a full-length game, not just like a experience,
Yeah, I'm very curious what they mean by full length. Like, is it 10 hours? Is it 20? Like, it's got to be at least 10, right?
9 inches.
So in the gameplay reveal, they didn't mention the time exactly, but they did say that it will be like the older titles. And looking at the older titles, the average is 14 to 16 hours. Actually, some going into almost 20. So I assume that it will be at least 10 hours for sure. I think it's going to be a full-length game.
I really hope they do it structurally like the original Assassin's Creed, where it's sort of like each map is like its own insular place, but like a pretty decently sized area that you can just move wherever you want. And they tell you like, this is the image of the guy you have to kill or something, or you have to figure out where he is. And I hope they give you a lot of freedom of like deciding how you go through the environment and how you're going to take out who your target is, and just letting you like live in that. Like, I'm the assassin. Probably.
I think you're hoping for too much.
So that's funny you say that, Samson. I think that's exactly what it's like. If you spend the 10 minutes and watch their gameplay review that they put on IGN, and I think it's now on like Ubisoft's YouTube, Meta's YouTube too. There's a 10-minute video, and they go through all the ins and outs, and we broke it down on the pod a few weeks ago. But everything you're saying, it sounds exactly like that, because they mentioned something where, let's say you're in Rome, parts of Rome are open for you, so it's like a semi-open world, but then more parts get unlocked as you go through the game. And I got a real feeling as you were describing that. I was like, yeah, this is like Assassin's Creed 1, where everything's more contained.
Yeah.
And I think it's gonna be exactly what you said, and I think this is the reason why we've been waiting 3 years for it to come out. So
that's what I'm praying for.
It's out today as this podcast is out, so it could be completely wrong.
Yeah.
It's just a bunch of mini games.
Swing the axe at the tree.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm an assassin now. But yeah,
you can now roam
in VR.
Oh.
Yeah. So the next 2 monster games, Pavlov and Assassin's Creed's out. Anything else? I just wanted to ask Andy, how is comedy going? How is that kind of like when we first spoke originally? I remember you saying that you went into some VR worlds to kind of do some comedy in there, which was really cool. Are you still doing that, or how? How are things?
Yeah. Shout out to the guys at Failed to Render Comedy. They do, I think it's 3 shows a week. One is in VR chat, and the other 2 are in Horizon Worlds. And they built like 3 different clubs in each of those spaces. And I'll do it like every other week or every couple of weeks. I'll go in and do like a 10 or 15 minute spot.
Nice.
But yeah, if you want to check out live entertainment, like Failed to Render, or look up other live shows, because it's like it's still to me that the coolest experience you can have in VR is just like sitting in a club, like hearing the people around you in proximity chat, like people roasting each other, people laughing and talking, and just like enjoying a communal experience in real time. And they had Howie Mandel in there once, so you never know. Occasionally, Howie Mandel pops in. So it's cool.
So random.
I think Howie's working with this company that does these projectors. I don't know if you've seen this. I think they had him at the VR Game Awards last year. I might be thinking of a different award show, but it's like basically just like a human-sized like box, and it projects a hologram in the box, so it sort of looks like the person in this like hologram box is like there with you.
Oh,
and
that's cool.
The Failed to Render, they did a couple live comedy shows where it was hybrid. So you would have your headset on in front of a live audience, and next to you is the hologram box. So they would see, your Horizon Worlds avatar, and then behind you, they would see a projection of the whole audience in the virtual world that you're looking at.
Oh, cool.
So it's like 2 disparate audiences and like a lot of tech on stage, but it was super interesting.
That's really interesting. Yeah. Okay. Failed to Render Comedy. I'm definitely going to go check a couple shows out with that. That'd be great. Yeah. And that's in Horizon Worlds. I've heard a lot of people are pushing Horizon Worlds now. I think it's getting better and better. So that's gonna be interesting. Yeah, I would definitely check that out. Can you remember, like, did they normally just do it weekly, or?
I know they have shows on Thursdays and Wednesdays, but if you check their Twitter, they post the dates there. It is weekly at the same time and dates. I just can't remember what they are.
Yeah, fair enough.
But I think I'm gonna be there this Thursday, so I'll let you guys know. We'll get the crew together.
Nice. Yeah, I see the box as well. I see the box. In fact, I'm going to take a picture of this and I'll put it up on the video chat. But I see the box. It looks really interesting because you see the whole Meta Horizon kind of avatar or VR chat avatar, whatever you want to
put
like,
in there.
Yeah. Put in there. Which is, without the legs. The legs don't exist.
It's pretty wild. Like, imagine you're at like the Hollywood Improv or some big comedy club and you're seeing this avatar like on stage.
Just floating.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah, that's so amazing. That's so amazing. And then also, Andy, I think I saw you on a Little Caesars commercial as well.
Yeah, I've been busy. That's kind of like what my main focus has always been, is acting. And that's why I started my YouTube channel, because it allows me to do comedy, acting, and just indulge in tech that I like. But so I was just in a Little Caesars commercial. So Pizza, it was with the football player, Cam Jordan was in it from the Saints. And
that's wicked.
I had my great one line. What was that? That's what I said in it.
But hey, you have one line.
Yeah, it was great. I said that line probably 50 times that day. And I remember at some point the director, he's like, You keep saying it the same way. I was like, how many different ways can you say what?
Honestly, it's the whole like Seinfeld Kramer, these pretzels are making me thirsty. Saying it throughout the whole episode.
Yeah.
These pretzels, they're making me thirsty.
What was
My
that?
favorite take, I was like, they're not using that. Like, this time act surprised. Just so I was like, what was that? Okay. No, they did not use that.
And that's what they use?
No. That's fair. That's fair. Beauty. Well, Andy, thanks so much for coming on to the show. It's great to have you back after, I don't know what episode you were on. It was probably like in the 40s.
Ago. Yeah.
It was a long time ago, and you know, things have changed. Things have changed. I think I'm losing a little bit more hair. Samson's beard's intact, you know. But you, Andy, you look exactly the same. You have the exact same room. Everything.
That's the
you haven't changed at all.
The beauty of Los Angeles pharmaceuticals. No, it's awesome. I'm glad you guys have been keeping this going, and it's cool to see it grow. I tuned into your Meta. You guys did a stream for MetaConnect, right?
Yeah.
I tuned into that. That was a great time. So y'all are killing it.
Awesome.
And we'll push you to 15K next in 20, you know.
We're on the way up. This is just the beginning. I'm about to double down this year, and I'm excited.
Yeah, especially with that Quest 3. I'm excited. For everyone listening and watching, all the links for Andy will be in there, the Twitter, or the X, rather. I still can't get used to that. And
Links to all my
Just call it the
will be-
name, the site formerly known as Twitter. Just call it that.
The site formerly known as Twitter. X is going to be I'll put that in the show notes. I'll also put in obviously the YouTube channel, and I'll also link the failed to render. So if you do want to see that and potentially catch Andy doing what he does best. Rather than having an AI girlfriend, he talks and laughs about having one.
I do some good material on that.
Yeah, exactly. Check out that. But thanks everyone for listening and watching. Thank you, Andy, once again for coming on the show. And we will see you next week, where we will probably focus a lot of our attention on Assassin's Creed and give you our thoughts on that. So we'll see you then. Samson, take us away.
Thank you. And remember, aren't you glad you just had a great meal?